Hey, Steve, how are you?
Hey, Michael, good afternoon, and welcome to this is my Renaissance edition of Ocean Freight TV, our after hours edition, I should say. I'm so punch drunk from TPM 2023, it's got me moving in all different directions. I am so pleased to bring you guys on LinkedIn the newest wave or phase in my crazy, wacky TV career here at LinkedIn. You know me all as CEO of Ocean Audit. I'm Steve Ferreira, of course, and it is just an honor and pleasure to be here with our port series. With me today is a good new friend, Dr. Michael Waller, who is the business development representative for Envoy Logistics based in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Michael, welcome to Ocean Freight TV.
Thank you. Yeah, we're actually based in Chicago. I'm just out here right now.
Yes,
But yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Michael's on the ground in Vietnam, and Envoy Logistics is in the great heartland of Chicago. And Michael is acting as my kind of foreign correspondent for the weekend in Ho Chi Minh City. So we're at wanted to give my audience a kind of up close and personal look of this happens to be an inland container depot. It's called the Phuc Long Inland Container Depot in Ho Chi Minh City. Michael, give us a kind of a broad brush of the landscape that you're seeing there at the ICD there in Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the different brands, the different container brands that are here. Um, the this port moves very quickly. I can see the yard actually, from my apartment, and they really load and unload the ships, very quickly. But there's all kinds of goods and service, all types of goods, in these containers. Food, beverage, um, building supplies, all kinds of things that they manufacture and even sell retail here in Vietnam for very cheap. Like you can pick up an energy drink in Vietnam for about 50 cents. So, yeah, it's a very interesting sight to see. Here's some evergreen containers back here, but as you can see, the major U.S. brands that you would expect to see at an international port like Evergreen, um, yeah, and Masaryk are not here, but that could possibly be because they're already on the ship. It is a Saturday, and the only ship that's in port is a bulk carrier right now. So that could
That's
have
right.
something to do with it. Yeah. So
That's right.
it's not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. Probably
Yeah,
good inventory management.
I was tracking your location on marine traffic, and I saw a few Vietnamese ships that I didn't recognize. But you know, that's it's a river port as well. So you've got a very interesting kind of feeder capability that this inland container depot is serving. Uh, Michael, I'm not sure if you know the answer to this question, but how far are you, would you say, from a deep sea port, like the major deep sea ports where the larger vessel operating common carriers would dock at? About how far away are you geographically in miles or kilometers?
I would say within 2 kilometers.
Very nice, very nice. This is a really interesting thing, Michael. I got to tell you a really funny story. You know, I did 2 years, great 2 years of my life on FreightWaves TV. Craig Fuller gave me a chance to do, my own weekly show, Navigating B2B. And one of the things I always wanted to do in my heart of hearts is I wanted to have a port series where we could talk to people at foreign ports and get the audience to see a little bit of what was happening at the foreign port. This is an exclusive. This is a first on LinkedIn. I think that this series of showing some of the dynamics, like just coming off of TPM, I was speaking to a bunch of footwear people. You know, footwear is a huge commodity from there, as is furniture. You mentioned the energy drinks. Do you think you could do a little panorama with the camera, Michael, to give our audience a little bit of a 360 of what you're looking at this ICD, the SimCMA?
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And how would you say the activity is right now? It's a Saturday, so do you see much activity with cranes moving, or
You know what? I just see a Mazer trailer coming in right now, actually. Container.
there you go?
Um,
There's Maersk
you
line
know,
right there.
exactly. Yeah, Maersk line. They pronounce it Masaryk here. Isn't that whenever I talk to people about it, they say Masaryk. Yeah, no, it's very active. It's Saturday morning, and there were at least 2 or 3 ships that I believe came in yesterday, if I recall from memory. I can see them from my building, and it's really, pretty impressive how just efficiently it runs. It really does, in and out, and yeah, it's very active. They opened up at 8 a.m., which is 7 p.m. Chicago time, and I was here at 8 a.m. and they were already uh, transloading containers here in the yard.
You know something I just observed? Could you pan around one more time with the camera?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
I noticed a lack of chassis. It looks like everything's a grounded operation there. Do you think
I'm
it's the
gonna walk
type of
around.
operation? Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna walk
wondering if
around
the
the
yeah.
cranes on the other side. I saw it. I saw it when I came in. I'm gonna walk over here and see if we can see more chassis. But yeah, you're exactly right. There's not many chassis here.
Yeah, I think this would appear to be a grounded operation where, like that Maersk container was bringing in probably a load or an empty, and he'll go out, perhaps with a load or another empty, in a round trip transaction. But this, oh, here you go. This ICD is fascinating. And by the way, guys, everyone that's just joining, I'm Steve Ferreira, CEO of Ocean Audit, Ocean Freight TV. I got my special guest, Dr. Michael Waller, who is a business development manager for Envoy Logistics based out of Chicago. But Michael's reporting on the ground. And you're looking live at a live shot of Ho Chi Minh City ICD, Internal Container Depot. Interior Container Depot, excuse me. I almost lost my bearings. This is very common in India. Obviously, ICDs prevail in other parts of Asia. And this is my on-the-ground port series, only here on Ocean Freight TV. Michael, now that you're walking around a little bit, what are some of the other observations you can make at this container depot in Vietnam?
It's very clean, very organized. They do have some reefer containers I can see here. Crews are working. And there's a dock office staff, with personnel. It's a very nice facility.
I must say, given the reception that you had on off camera before we came on the air, some of the nicest, politest people I've ever met in my life. I mean, it was so kind to allow us this kind of exclusive access. I mean, think about it. I know this is going to sound hokey, but nowhere else in the world is anyone doing what you and I are doing right now.
I know, that's amazing. That's amazing, and I'm blessed to be able to do this, and it's awesome. Hey, look at this. Look at this, dude.
Oh, wow, look at that. We got a yard hustler coming in right at us. Say, be careful. I don't want it to take you out.
Right. Hey, thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this. This is a really cool thing to do.
Well, listen, I have to put a little disclaimer for the audience. This is really a funny story, Michael. You're going to love this. I coming off of TPM, I'm getting a lot of comments on my outfits, and I got to tell the audience, Michael and I did not organize our wardrobes today. We just must be brothers from another mother and simpatico today. We're just really very well matched in our thoughts and in our wardrobe. But most of all, Michael's really customer focused and customer centric. And I think he totally understands and gets the importance of something like this. It may seem like trivial, a guy in Miami and a guy in Vietnam at the port, but we wanted to show you guys and gals, coming off of TPM as well as all the other activities, this is what it's like to be boots on the ground. You don't have, in back of me is my filming of the Port of Los Angeles from the last couple of days I was out there. A completely different scenario where Michael is in Vietnam. He's been kind enough to let us into his weekend and share some of this time in the Internal Container Depot. This is what it's like, in the hinterlands and the interior of these emerging economies. Michael, I think one of the containers behind you looks pretty well banged up and patched up. Can you kind of pan to that container pile on your right, I guess? Scroll,
right,
more to, no, the other side.
Okay.
The other side. Keep going.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, right there. That second container, right above the CAI container, is that all patched up? It looks like it is, isn't it?
You know what?
Or is that just a logo?
I think it was a logo that was just pulled off. It looks like it's not. It doesn't look like a patch.
Oh, okay.
It's actually just like a discoloration.
Okay, it looked like a repair patch to me. I mean, these are all ISO steel containers,
You know
Core
what?
10
It could be.
steel.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
could be from the inside, Steve. I think you're
I
right on
kind of
that.
think I think it might be a repair, and it's really really interesting that the other observation I make really quickly. I'm guessing a lot of these are 20-foot containers as opposed to 40s. Yeah, I see a whole stack of. I think those are all 20s, or I can't tell. Does the container number on that text one TEXU two something? Do they start with two or six?
22. Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Two
yeah,
G
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, two. So that's the ISO code for a 22G1 would be an international container of 20 foot, 8 foot 6 high. Yep, that's perfect. That's
Nice.
exactly what I want to show the audience. Um, yeah, so obviously 20-foot containers, very much in use in a more of a small geographical area. You know, like in this ICD, you know, they're like gold. 20-foot, very common in Europe. You know, in the Americas, not so much, right? We kind of supersize everything with the standard 40
Yeah.
foot, 40 high cube, 45. Michael, you also mentioned that you saw a refrigerated container. That probably means some seafood and some other, obviously, marine type activity. Did you happen to notice if they were plugged in or not plugged in? I was just curious.
You know what? Let's look at it. It's right here. I don't believe that it appears to be plugged in at this time, but let me look and get a closer look at it for you.
Okay. You were
Hey,
talking.
I love your book, by the way. I just started reading it and it was amazing. That is
my book?
talent,
Oh,
my
thank
friend.
you.
Yes, it's great.
You're very kind. I had, really a home run with navigating B2B. Actually, I have it right here. I'm not promoting. Buy my book on Amazon.com.
Hey,
No.
if I would have heard about it, I would have bought it years ago. And
You're kidding. You're great. You're great.
yeah,
Now, what do you have there? What's that green container there? That looks like a very interesting one you just passed. Can you show us a little bit on that container? Let's see. Oh, Dong. What's the name of it? Dongfeng. So probably Asia-based, either feeder vessel or leased container. Got a Yangming container above that. Now, can you hone in on the Dongfeng container numbers? I want to see if it has the 22G1. Let's see. Yeah, hone in there. So we got the 22G1, and that's the international ISO code, right? So you can go into a database and you can type in 22G1, and it will tell you this is a 20-foot, 8-foot 6 container or a 20-foot, 9-foot 6 container. This is a 22G1 is used the world over, right? No matter whether you're in Bolivia, the Bahamas, or Beijing. Yeah, I like that alliteration on the B's. That's the global standardization. And there you can see there, it says the standard container, 8'6". IC, I believe that's the international classification that shows it's registered. And so that is what we would call a legitimate ocean container ready to move. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you tell can you get a door perspective? Do any of these containers have seals or locks on the doors that would indicate a full load as opposed to an empty? Are you able to see the doors?
let's look. Here's the back. Doesn't look
Scan
like
down a little bit to the handles.
Yes.
Do you see a seal? Oh, can you hone in on that seal, please? Can you hone in on the seal?
No,
the other
there's no
side.
seal.
Oh, there's
On
no
the other
seal.
side?
Oh, forgive me. I thought
No
I saw a
seal,
seal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not at all.
So
Let me look on the front.
we know that that's an empty container just from looking. This is really interesting. One of my favorite movies is the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and they do a scene in the LA container yard. Is just classic. There's actually a website that lists the top 10 movies with ocean container scenes in them. I think after Michael and I finished, we found the 11th. So, so we're with my special guest, Dr. Michael Waller. Michael is a business development representative with Envoy Logistics out of Chicago, on the ground right now, live in Ho Chi Minh City, helping me to film and show you in live real stream. We're live on LinkedIn. What a active interior container depot looks like in Vietnam or in Ho Chi Minh City. That's a reefer, right? There you go.
Yeah.
All right. What is the brand on that one? What is the markings on the side? Can you get a side angle by chance?
Let's look.
That looks like a gray box, so I'm going to guess that's a lease container, and don't see anything. Can you zoom in a little bit? I see a logo there on the back, SF or K. Not sure I can tell that if that is.
Yeah, it looks like it's peeled off. Starts with an S, possibly.
Okay,
You see?
that's a reefer as well. Okay, yeah. Well, these boxes are quite weathered. These Corten containers last a heck of a long time. We saw a couple that were in repair. Michael's taking us through the yard. There's looks like this is somewhat of an empty depot. We did see a Maersk line being interchanged or coming in. That was nice to see, that live shot. And what are some of the other things you're observing right now? Are there people working? Are there laborers working? What else are you seeing, Michael?
Oh yeah, definitely. People are working. The motorbike is scooters are very common uh, use of transportation in Asia, um, and the Maersk line, right? That's how you
Yes,
pronounce it in the U.S. But here, if you talk to
Maersk.
somebody about it, they'll say, "Oh, Maersk," and you mean Maersk? No, Maersk. It's like okay. So
That's
the
fascinating. I
that's
didn't know
yeah,
that.
it
I
is
did not know
fascinating.
that.
Yeah, and so sometimes you think they're talking about something different or a different company, but really they're talking uh, about Maersk. So the yeah, it's I mean it's a Saturday. There's people working. There's people you know walking around. It looks like there's like maybe some small housing units or whatnot there. Um, I always notice in Asia that there's a very strong family tie, and many times families live in like areas like where they work, or they'll live behind their restaurant, or they'll live on top of their hotel or breakfast area. So yeah, it's very common to find living spaces in what we consider to be commercial property area.
Hey, let's have some fun before we finish
Yeah,
off. This is great. We got a pretty good audience watching us now. Uh, I have a live manifest tool that I can actually look up container numbers. Is there a container number right behind you? Maybe I saw on the Zim or Yang Ming. Do you see
sure.
any brand American names? I don't want. I don't want a. Actually, that one right there, right behind you.
The tech.
Yes, yes. Can I have that container number? I want to
Absolutely.
tell the audience, it's history. I think I can do that. I think I have the ability to do that in live. Go ahead, please read the number to me. TEXU.
Okay. Yeah, TEMU.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry. Hold on.
no
TEMU.
problem.
Okay, go ahead.
1711863.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do, and this is live TV, folks. So I hope I'm right. I'm going to click, and oh my gosh, this is just incredible. This is great. So what this looks like to me is this container has been in the United States 4 times in the last 3 years. The last time this container that you're looking at was in the U.S. was in 2021. So this tells me now that this container is either leased and stays within Asia, perhaps on an inter-Asia movement, or is strictly used for local depot moves within Vietnam. But I can tell you that it was last registered to Yang Ming as an active container, and the last time it came to the U.S., it was carrying uh, hardwood flooring or some kind of flooring, and the origin of the container was actually Haiphong. So it left Haiphong, and it looks like it made its way back there. And that makes perfect sense, because it could have been off leased or off hired in Haiphong, and then perhaps bought by another entity, right? So this appears not to have any more movement to the USA, but it's really interesting that we can track and trace its volume. Its history, and that's the other thing I want to point out to my audience, is that all these containers have a living, breathing, or to me, and again, I'm a geek, right? But they're almost, Michael, like a living, breathing organism in terms of where they've been. So it's fascinating to be able to see something like that and kind of date stamp where it's been. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anything I can do to help.
Yeah, well, I think that pretty much wraps up our first initial try at this foreign port series. We got an incredible correspondent here in Dr. Michael Waller, the business development rep at Envoy Logistics out of Chicago. Michael's been a good sport to take time out of his weekend to come film and live stream for us. And again, you're watching Steve Ferreira's Ocean Freight TV. I'm CEO of Ocean Audit. Please come see me when it relates to anything having to do with ocean freight refund recovery. If you need any help on global logistics and other kind of logistics services, drop Michael a link or a line. I'll include his profile in the show notes. So, Michael, I can't thank you enough. You've been such a good sport on sharing your Saturday with us. Any closing thoughts or remarks?
Absolutely. Steve, if you have freight, just envoy it. We'll get it done. All right. Okay.
I love
And
the
Steve,
plug.
you
I
know
love the
what?
plug.
Hey, you're amazing, man. If nobody's ever told you how amazing you are, you're amazing. Thank you for having me.
Listen.
This was awesome.
You're, you know, it's going to go right to my head. I'll go tell my wife what you said, and then she'll say, you know, come back to reality and clean out the kitchen. So, you know,
right?
Listen, yeah. I may look good isolated in the studio, but once I leave the confines of this friendly, you know, I'm a Boston guy, right? So the confines of friendly Fenway Park, you know, which is my studio. Once I leave here, it's, you know, Katie bar the door. She's going to grab me. So listen. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for all the kindness and support. This is a good start to our Man on the Street, Man on the Port series. And Dr. Michael Waller, you're not only a great friend and a logistics pro, but also one of the more educated folks I've ever met. So kudos to you, and have a great weekend. I hope you'll come on my show again soon.
Of course, absolutely. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, Michael. Have a great one.
Yep.
Cheers.